Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Jesus Revolution. I always say resolution. Revolution. It's about a true story about a spiritual awakening in the 1970s and its origins with a community of teenage hippies in Southern California. 7.4 on IMDb, 5,415 people rated so far. It's a 2-hour film. Kimberly, Williams-Paisley, Kelsey, Nick Bishop are some of the names I recognize, but I don't know too much about it, but that's a pretty high score. So let's get into it, find out what it's about, give you a better idea. Stick around, I'll be back. Hey everybody, I want to do a quick check-in here. We're watching Jesus Revolution. We're at the 1 hour, 6 minute, 21 second mark. Kind of an interesting story. I don't know that much about hippies and stuff like that. I mean, I knew they were always into love and peace and against the war, and this might just be a subset of hippies. This happens. It starts in 1969, and Kelsey is a pastor at a local church, and is against the hippie movement that's happening. It's all about drugs and rock and roll and stuff like that, right? And his daughter finds this man, and who is just there to spread the word, and he is just all about, religion and Jesus and all that. His name is Lonnie Frisbee, right? And it started, and Greg. So Greg is played by Courtney. Anyway, so it really starts by following Greg's story and how the opening scene is, present or something like that. And it's like, how did you end up with this movement, I'll say. And so it follows him a little bit, but it brings in Lonnie Frisbee and Frazier, right? So they get looped in. But ultimately, as I said, his daughter, the pastor's daughter, finds Lonnie walking on the road. She starts talking to him. It's like, you got to meet my dad. He meets his dad and just, convinces him, or, shares with him the word that he's trying to spread. And Frazier buys into it and invites him to his church. And he comes to his church, and now he scares some of his current parishioners off, but some people convert and they love it, and it starts growing and growing and growing. So the two of them now have this church, essentially, that is like filled with half hippie type people and half more, squares, if you will. People who aren't hippies, who are, outside of that. And, it's growing and growing exponentially as this happens. I just paused it just now, and they have this tent, and, he said, we'll build this tent, and hopefully we'll fill this tent in a couple of weeks. Well, they ended up filling the tent in a day. That's how many people are coming. And, so you're seeing a merging of two different class of people for the same purpose, to believe in God or Jesus and spread the word of love. So we still have the side, so that's the overarching plot line. And then there's the Greg story, what's going on with him. He met a girl, kind of followed her, so that there's that side of it as well. And what was I going to say? And Nicholas Cirillo is in this. So Nicholas Cirillo is for those of you who happen to watch, I almost said the OC, but no, he's in Outer Banks. He's whatever. So I saw him and I was like, I know that guy. I didn't know his name, but he's in it too. He plays a smaller role, but not. Anyway, so his story's in it as well. So that's where we are. It is interesting, but it's also longer. We're an hour. There's a whole hour left, so we'll see where it goes from here. It's interesting because I didn't know that much about, all of this revolution back in the 70s, obviously before my time. So I'm learning a lot, but I'm also finding myself slightly on my phone. So, but I'm going to get back to it and see if it can hold my attention a little bit longer. I'll give it my due diligence and I'll let you know. So stick around. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of the Jesus Revolution. I continued to be on my phone throughout. I know that's why you're seeing. And I don't know, it just didn't grab me. I found it interesting because I know nothing about this, you know. But it just, I just kept going back and kept going back. I don't know why. I hope I didn't miss much. But I think maybe it's probably, and I could be wrong, more interesting to people who, you know, witnessed this or were aware of this, maybe during a time or shortly thereafter. Because, you know, it just feels like, okay, it's great that a bunch of young people, hippies in this case, decided to rise up and start following Jesus, and that's fantastic. That's great, but it doesn't feel extra special to me. They mention it's probably the biggest movement in modern times or something like that, but I don't know. Again, it didn't just great, but I don't know. It is based on real people, and I was like excited to see the end. Like, who were these real people? You know, and they give us a lot of information, which I always like. I like to see the pictures. I like to see what happened since then. But it didn't click to me. It was like, okay, is this gonna be what was that? The $1,000 Club or whatever that was called? I forget that whole thing. Or was it? Is it? You know, there's a lot of people's names that I remember that don't ring a bell right now. I forget what, but you know what I mean, like big in religion, and they used to do stuff on TV back in the, you know, early 90s or the 80s or something like that. I was like, is this who it's going to be? Or I wish I could remember some of the names. I'm losing all of their names in my head right now, but there's some. But you know, and I thought, no, but I didn't know anybody. The bottom line is I didn't know who they really focus on the three people like that I mentioned, which is Frazier, Lonnie Frisbee, love that name, and then Greg, right? And it shows what they go on to do, which is fantastic, but just completely didn't hold my interest. Sorry. So there you go. If you knew about this, and you know, that was in the Times magazine in 1971 or something like that, and you know, maybe you knew about this or you've read about it, and you know, it might be more interesting to you. For me, it just wasn't. It was still good, but not great. So, all right, there you go. Sorry, not a very elaborate movie review tonight, but still a review nonetheless. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.